Hello my gorgeous makeup loving friends, welcome back to my channel. I, along with everybody else on the internet, ended up getting the Divination collection by Blend Bunny, which is a collaboration between them and Robert Welsh. I do have to say though, this was gifted to me in PR. Robert very kindly selected to send this on to me. So thank you very much. If you haven't already seen, I do have a swatching video showing this across lots of different lighting, but I wanted to test this out. It's not really a review because I feel like a singular use of a palette is not going to give you enough context on this. I'm also afraid that I won't be able to be completely objective because Robert is such a nice person, so I find it very difficult to see him in any sort of a negative light. But I did do this particular eye look, yeah, and as an FYI, obviously used this lip gloss. I know, I'm surprised that I didn't go for the green either. So if you want to see how I did this look, very simple, a sort of a follow along, use this palette or use whatever you have at home, and that is what this video is all about. I have a mug of tea right here next to me, and you know what? This eye look is so fast that I don't even think that I'll be about halfway through this cup of tea before it's finished. It is properly easy, which I quite enjoy. The thing that I will say about Blend Bunny's formula is because there's so much pigment to it, and it's a slightly drier formula because of the high pigment, I would highly suggest that if you're using this, go from dark to light, right? It just makes your life a lot easier and it blends so much better. And the good thing about this is that even though there is a lot of pigment, it does kind of disperse quite well. So don't worry too much about it being wabam. It works out pretty well. So the first thing I'm obviously doing is starting off with a black because, I mean, it's a darker eye look. I wanted to go for something a little bit simpler. So I am using this Zoeva, which one is it? It's the 225. This is brilliant for like your blacks. And I'm going into the shade Meg, which is a black. Now I've tapped off the excess, which is great, but you don't have too much fallout on this, which I have to say I'm quite pleased about. Now I am just stamping it on at the moment just to kind of get it in there. In case you're wondering, I have MAC as a base, and also I put a little bit of setting powder on top because with this formula I just find it blends that little bit better when I have a setting powder on top. Because just in case you've never been to my channel before, I will try and find the quickest ways to do something. I'm like, I do not have time to sit here and blend forever. Now, is this the blackest black? Is it as black as my soul? No, but you know what? I appreciate that. You can build it up, right? You can see how I can blend it out. I'm not getting too much. It's not overpowering. Yeah, and I also love this brush for it. And yes, you could probably intensify it by having a black base, but I decided I wanted to do something like this. So it does blend really nicely. Obviously with this palette, he's gone for like a higher proportion of mattes, which I think makes an awful lot of sense. As an MUA, you want to have like a good basis of mattes, but then the shimmers that he's chosen make a huge amount of sense as well. Like they all work fabulously well. Like look at that, right? And this is great because I don't have to be objective. I can just show you this and be like, okay, this is what this looks like, minimum effort. I'm now using a Sigma E25 and I'm going into the shade Mirrors, and I just love how this is sectioned, so it's really easy to use. As always, I'm tapping off the excess, but what I'm doing here is just stamping it on a little bit above where I left off with Meg and a little bit on top of it as well, just to make my life a little bit easier. I do tap off the excess, just in case you're wondering. And just bringing it over here. And I know you're probably like, why are you not putting stuff on the lid? Don't worry, we'll get there together. But you can see, even already here, if you start off with your dark to light, it just blends a lot easier. You'll have a lot more issues if you start from light to dark. It's just the formula, that's just how it is. So once you know exactly how to work with it, it's a lot easier. But oh my goodness, like look at that. Love it. Not having to work hard at this at all. And this is kind of perfect because obviously the people who watch Robert, we're all at various levels of ability when it comes to makeup. Like I would be like medium level of skill, I suppose, somewhere around that. Like, I'm not beginner level, but I'm also like, I'm not an MUA myself. So he's gone for a formula that is just going to be usable for like everyone, which I really, really appreciate. And yes, I've gone for a slightly more neutral look, but you know. Also, I think I might have been silly by putting on the liner because I'm like, oh, how am I going to mimic that on this side? Oh, Teresa, you silly, silly goose. Oh, it seemed like a good idea at the time, but look at that. Minimal effort. I also love these brushes. Quick tea break, lads. Like I said, this is fast. I'm not going to get through all of my tea before this is done. I'm taking my Sigma E36 and I'm going into the shade Smoke. Now this one is a lot lighter than the previous ones. There's a little bit of a jump. That being said though, it does blend quite well. I am just going to stamp it on first to make my life a little bit easier. I wasn't surprised that he had like the greys and blacks and stuff. The bit that surprised me was actually the yellows. I was like, oh my goodness. But I love how you can get like cool toned looks from this palette, but also some like really grungy looks. So I was pleasantly surprised. I know I've said it many a time before already in videos, but I want more palettes. I want more Blend Bunny Robert Welsh palettes. I'd love to see his take on a neutral palette. I'd love to see him do a full purple palette. And by the way, this went on to Glisten Cosmetics again recently and they sold out again, which I'm like, yes, of course they did. Of course they did. Oh, yeah, look at that. Look at how easily that's blended. Yeah, not having to cut this out. You can see through my minimal editing skills exactly how this is functioning. So I'm very excited about that. Now you will notice we've kind of dispersed a little bit of the black, the shade Meg, which is fine. That's what you want. I like this sort of a formula where you can build it in, disperse it, build it back in, disperse it. It just gives you a lot more control of what you're doing, which I like. So in saying that, I'm going back in with my Zoeva 225 into the shade Meg and just popping it along there and working it in. Because I've already stamped it, don't need to stamp it again. This is just doing a little bit of buffing out, just to kind of bring a little bit of the drama back in, you know? And obviously I had to use the shade Oracle in case you're wondering what that gorgeous shimmer is. I mean, I had to. If you saw my swatching Sundays, you would have seen me being all like, oh my God, that shade is everything. It is, it literally is. And using my Sigma E25, going back into, I think it's Mirrors. Just, again, blending ever so slightly. Ugh, I love it when I have a palette that I don't have to worry about. Like I said, I'm minimal effort, and also I haven't done makeup in such a long time. So I know I'm terrible. This is the problem with having like 2 jobs and stuff, like, and then trying to do some YouTube. I don't have time. I mean, I could cut out sleeping, but that seems like that probably wouldn't be a good idea. I mean, look at that. Blended in real time. And then back in with the Sigma E36 with Smoke. And I just want to buff that out ever so slightly. Is this a very simple look? Yeah. But fuck it, why not? Why not, man? You know, this is the sort of palette for that. You could do a very, very complex look. Like I saw Sam, the lovely Sam, your makeup doctor over on TikTok. He had done like this mental, fabulous look. And then I'm like, yeah, not quite there. Not quite there mentally. I just thought, why not just do something really nice? And almost winter vibes, you know? I am now using a Sigma E27 and I'm going into the shade Hydromancy. Now these are kind of pastel shades. They're very, very difficult to formulate and not have them be very, very dry. So if you've like a lot of moisture on your eye, you might want to have like a look at that. Think about the primer that you're using because it could kind of cling if you're not careful. That's why I kind of used the setting powder, just because I was like, okay, this will kind of help it mesh a little bit more. So all I'm doing is just stamping it in because I thought the blue meeting the grey would be really nice. So literally just stampy stampy, but look at the level of cover or the colour that I've gotten, even though it's a pastel. Now, yes, I do have a white primer on, so that'll obviously make it a little bit easier to show up. And yes, I know I've gone under here, but that's what makeup wipes are for, my friend. That's what I use that for. So just smashing that on, make it a little bit more, yeah, that'll do. But yeah, even though I have like a white primer, you can see I'm still getting a decent level of the actual colour, which is, by the way, it's so hard to get that in a pastel. Like, I did try to be almost like a little bit mean using these particular colours. Now you will see there's a little bit that kind of pulls there because obviously I have moisture around my eye. That's just how it is. So you will see there's like a little bit of shadow that's just kind of pulled in there. This is what I'm saying about the fact that the formula is a little bit drier. So keep that in mind. You will want to kind of make some little plans for that if you can at all. Now, for me, that's totally fine there because it's going to get covered up ever so slightly by the kind of shimmery shade that I'm bringing in and the fact that I'm putting in some liner. But in general, it's not an issue. Just, you know, forewarned is forearmed, my beautiful friends. And now I'm taking a Sigma E36 and I'm going into the shade Affirmation because I'm pretty sure it's illegal to use a Robert Welsh palette and not go for at least one shade of purple. I don't want to anger him, you know? And I'm just popping it on top. And this is where you can kind of see how nicely they do blend together. Like, look at that. The way it's fusing in together. And as I said, pastels, really bloody hard to formulate. Name me some good pastel shades. Yeah. Exactly. They're really, really hard to get right. So I'm kind of impressed by this, you know? And you can tell, you know, he's thinking about the structure of these things, that you need these shades to lighten out, etc. But my goodness. I mean, I could have just left it at this, but I was like, no, we have to do the shimmer. Even though it's funny because like Robert himself doesn't use shimmers that often. He tends to go for more like matte eye looks with a little pop of like a shimmer, so I tried to kind of do that myself here. But I mean, look at that. Look at how that's like blended in to the pale blue. Like I said, I'm not like editing any of this out. You can see it happening in real time as to what this looks like, which I personally appreciate. I know when I'm watching people, I hate when there's like a big jump and I'm like, wait, what did you do? What happened? Stop hiding things from me. But that just makes it a little bit easier to kind of see. Now, I think I might blend in a little bit more of that grey because, you know, it's a little bit not quite matching up. Mind you, I can never get my eyes to match up. It just is what it is because they're slightly different shapes. I know, I'm not symmetrical. It's very, very sad. So I'm using that E36 and I'm going back into Smoke, which is the lightest grey. And what I really want to do is just kind of have it just come here and meet. Just make it a little bit easier for me. Like I said, it does allow you that. And by the way, I mean, you'll know this if you watch Robert. Hold your brush at the very, very bottom. It makes all the world of difference because if you hold it up here, that's where you get like a splodge of pigment and it's so hard then to like undo that. I need more like tutorials and stuff on like brush placement and how to handle brushes because I feel like that's the sort of content that's really, really helpful, at least for me anyways. And again, just going back in with that purple because, you know, why not? Is there any rhyme and reason to this? No, not really. Why not use a little bit of that hydromancy as well? I can do what I like. This is my channel. Have I gone a little bit weird? Yeah, probably. But you know what? It's all right. Like it's just makeup. It all comes off at the end of the day. I will say, it looked beautiful in pictures. Don't get me wrong, right? I'm not like dissing the photography or anything like that. But there's something about this palette that when you see it in reality, you're like, okay, I understand now. And friends, we're almost done. Like I said, it's very, very simple. I am using my fingers. That's right, because I just want to lightly tap this shade Oracle on here. Now you could build that up to full opacity, but I don't want that. I want it to be, oh, I mean, look at that. God damn you, it's beautiful. And like, the fact that they've kept down the price, when I know that these sort of formulas are expensive, Robert, I hope you actually, you know, made some sort of money on this. Don't be doing us charity here and like going for a small commission on this, but my goodness, look at that. So I'm literally just tapping it on. Now, when you tap it on like this, you are just diffusing. You're not getting the full, like I could swipe that on and get this full thing, but that's not what I wanted here. I wanted very much like Winter Wonderland. Let's see what's happening. And like, again, the fact that I'm getting that amount off of it with very minimal effort. I don't know why I did like a weird, like, sounded like a French skunk. That's horribly mean. I don't think there are any French skunks. Unless, I don't know, do they have them at a zoo? I don't know. I'm in a weird place mentally. I'm using a Sigma E25 and I'm just going to just ever so slightly blend that. Again, nice and simple. I think actually I need to get a little bit more black in here. So just going back with my Zoeva 225 and I want to just bring it in here ever so slightly. Just so they're a little bit more matchy. There, that'll do. I want to use a bit more of Oracle. Tell me to stop, please, somebody. I can't help it. Like I'm compelled to add more. I mean, shut up. So again, just taking that Sigma brush and just lightly dispersing it. So I'm getting more of like even little flecks. And it's not quite so like wabam as a multi-chrome, because I don't want it to be like in your face. But this is the very last bit that I'm doing. I know, I told you, it's very, very simple. I am using the shade Hermit, this one here. It's beautiful. Because I want to add that little bit of sparkle just on the outside, because, you know, why not? And I'm just tapping it on here. I mean, look at that, it adds such a nice little sparkle. And I'm using another Sigma E35 this time. And just, actually I might take a bit of that on the brush as well, sure, why not? And just put that in there. Yeah, so it fairly matches at this point. In case you're wondering about the liner, I have a liner on my waterline, that's Glisten Cosmetics. And then the liner that I have here, it's the Chroma Flik liquid liner by Glisten Cosmetics. So if you want to buy through them, I have a code. I know that's disgusting, but in case anyone's wondering, this is Deep Sea, so that's the liquid liner, and this one is Jaded, so that's what I have down here. But I'll come back, I'll have lashes etc on hopefully, and I'll decide on what lip. I'm kind of gravitating towards, you know, the green gloss balm, but I might also go for the purpley one. I don't know, we'll see. But join me in a little bit once I've made myself slightly more presentable. So I'm almost done now. I've put on the lashes. I put on the half lash and I just feel like it's really pretty. I love a half lash. They're perfect for glasses and I'm not finding that they're too long, which is great. I had to put on a pimple patch. Just, I mean, my skin is a little bit whatever at the moment. But because I went with such a cool toned eye look, I kind of felt that I had to go with this one. It's the shade Betrayal, so it's the more purpley toned one. And I think maybe using like a black liner could be really, really interesting. So I have this one from Half Magic and there's like a black liner here. So I'm just going to do that first. So the lip liner is on and I feel like this is going to go really, really nicely. So like I said, this is the shade Betrayal. And what I'm going to do is, just because I don't want to contaminate the rest, was just pop a bit onto the back of my hand. Look, I'm learning things, Robert. I'm learning things. And I just have a little brush here and I'll pop it on that way. Oh, the texture is interesting. Oh, that smells quite nice. Now, did I necessarily have to go with a sort of an ombre lip? Not really, but I feel like the purple on this is really interesting. I might pop a little bit more on. Also, the smell is really, really nice. Like, it's fruity. There, so you can build it up. I like that. So you could just have like that little watercolour. Or you could have like this And that is it. I am going to go and make myself look a little bit more presentable and then show you the finished look altogether. Like I said, super, super simple. And I still have some of my tea left. That's how little time this actually took. Hurrah! And I do feel like the sort of ombre black lip is really, really interesting. I'm just annoyed that my skin was not playing ball, so I had to use a pimple patch just to be like, let's not look like we're one of the diseased, darling. I do think that this is a really pretty eye look. Is it very, very difficult? No, but that's kind of what you want. You want to have something that's really easy to use, but you can get a really nice look out of. I'm going to zoom you in now so you can see how it all looks. And this is the finished look. As I said, I used like a liquid liner, which is Glisten Cosmetics in Deep Sea. And the liner that I used on the waterline is also Glisten Cosmetics, as their pencil, in the shade Jaded. But obviously when I have my glasses on, you can't see these things properly. And I even took my fringe out of the way so that you could see. Now obviously I have like some of the shadow has settled in particular places. That is not a Blend Bunny issue, that's a my eyes thing. My eyes always do that. They're a little bit crepey. It's because I'm a little bit older, that's fine, you know, such as the joys of getting older. But it will settle, that's just how it is. That's how my saggy eyelids are. But I feel like the blend on this is quite nice. And as you saw, we blended in real time, didn't take long, which I enjoy. So I'm hoping that with just this ring light, you might be able to see the sparkles a little bit better. I'm going to zoom you in now so you can see the finished eye look. Yes, we are uncomfortably close. So this is what it looks like. Obviously with the glasses on, I couldn't resist gluing things to myself. It is an issue at this point. But obviously that is all hidden behind the glasses, and I'm hoping that with this singular light, you might be able to see some of the sparkles from both of those shades, Hermit and Oracle. So Oracle obviously being the more bluey green one, and Hermit being the kind of grey sparkle. As I said at the beginning of the video, I didn't want this to be a review because I feel like a singular use isn't enough. I know there's a few videos out there already. I saw one recently that was like 4 looks with the palette. That's probably a really good indication of how it goes. But I'm hoping that even just you seeing the process of how these shadows worked gives you enough of an indication. Like, you don't need me to tell you what to make of this when you've seen the footage yourself, you know? And yes, I didn't use a huge amount of it. I only used like a little part of the palette, but it is still indicative. I've used like all of the formulas in that. Personally, I quite enjoyed it. Again, not a review, but there you go. I will also say that because I adore Robert and this was gifted to me in PR, take everything that I'm saying with a pinch of salt. Look at the finished product. The lashes, absolutely love them. I'm trying to find where I put them. Yes, I used obviously the half lash. I love a half lash, and these are stackable, which I'm like, oh, that's smart. But as Wilma said, any lash is stackable if you have the will. And I'm like, I don't think you know me very well. Beautiful. I love the half lash. It went on so easily. This is beautiful. I can see them coming out with more of these, and like just the little design on them, they look so pretty, absolutely gorgeous. Can't wait to try the green one. I loved this with the black gloss. Do I have thick enough lips for it? No, not really. And then the palette itself, obviously, just looking at it like this, yes, I know I have the plastic thing sticking out like that. Haven't I? Terrible. I am a mess of a human being. But it's just a work of art just to look at from that standpoint. But there's something about seeing it in person. I was very impressed with the pastels. Like I said, I wanted to try those out. Good pigment on them. Yes, I did use a white base, so I did give it the best possible sort of chance. But that being said, really interesting. I can't wait to play with this part, the more yellowy greeny one. I didn't do that because I was like, come on now, Teresa, that's a bit much, because that's kind of what I would gravitate to anyways. I loved this. I'm so glad I got this. If I hadn't gotten it in PR, I was going to buy it anyways. So, you know, keep that in mind. I definitely want to do more videos with it, just because I think I get a bit bored of seeing like one video and then that's it. You never see it again. That's not really indicative of how we all use makeup. So I will definitely be using this again. Let me know if there's anything in particular, like any color stories or whatever that you want me to do, because that is what I'm interested in. But my gorgeous friends, that is it. Thank you so much for watching. Do please like, comment and subscribe. Turn on that notification bell, and do please share, because sharing is caring, except of course for STDs, in which case just wrap it up. Don't be gross, but that's it. That's the end of the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.